My name is Kenichi Sato, an amateur photographer with a taste for the strange and obscure. In the autumn of 2018, I heard whispers of a tree deep in the mountains of Aomori Prefecture. A tree they called the human-faced tree. The rumors spoke of a gnarled trunk bearing a face-like pattern, etched there by something unnatural, tied to a woman's death long ago. I've always been drawn to the unexplained, the kind of thing that blurs the line between reality and nightmare. So, with my camera slung over my shoulder, I set out to find it. The drive into Aomori was bleak. The air grew colder with every mile, the wind whistling through the trees like a warning. My GPS died halfway up the winding mountain road, leaving me with nothing but a crude, hand-drawn map. The tree, they said, stood near an abandoned shrine, a place no one dared visit anymore. By the time I arrived, the sun was sinking, staining the sky a deep, bloody red. The shrine was a ruin, rotted wooden pillars jutting from the earth, a cracked stone tablet tilting into the undergrowth. I stepped through the shadows, leaves crunching underfoot, the air thick with the scent of decay. Then I saw it, the human-faced tree. It loomed taller than I'd imagined, its trunk so wide it'd take 2 men to encircle it. The bark was scarred with time, and there, in the middle, was the face, sunken eyes, a twisted mouth, frozen in silent agony. I raised my camera, snapped a shot, and the flash pierced the dusk like a scream. That's when I heard it. A faint sob, low and broken, like a woman choking back tears. I froze, my breath catching in my throat. The forest was still, save for the swaying branches. It's just the wind, I told myself, or my mind playing tricks. I'd heard the stories. A young woman, heartbroken, had taken her life beneath this tree, her blood seeping into its roots. They said her spirit lingered, crying in the night. Old tales, nothing more. I wasn't the type to scare easily. I kept shooting, circling the tree, framing the face from every angle. On my camera's screen, it looked sharper, almost alive, staring back at me with an intensity I couldn't shake. Kneeling to photograph the roots, a sudden breeze scattered the leaves, revealing a dark red stain in the soil. I touched it, sticky, cold, like blood long dried. My pulse quickened, but I forced it down. Animal blood, maybe, or sap. That's all it was. Night was creeping in fast. I decided I'd had enough. As I turned to leave, a sharper cry cut through the silence. Raw, desperate, unmistakable. I spun around, heart hammering, but the tree stood alone in the gloom. Instinct took over. I snapped a few more shots, the flash flaring wildly. For a split second, I thought I saw something, a white shape darting past, but the screen showed only the tree, stark and empty. I bolted for my car, leaves snapping under my boots. and didn't look back until I was behind the wheel. In the rearview mirror, the tree watched me go, a silhouette against the fading light. Back in my Tokyo apartment, I couldn't wait to see the photos. I plugged the camera into my laptop and started scrolling. That's when my stomach dropped. In the last few shots, there was someone standing beside the tree. A blurry figure in a white kimono, head bowed, long black hair spilling over her shoulders. I was alone out there. I know I was. Zooming in only made it worse. I shut the laptop and tried to sleep, but the night wouldn't let me rest. In my dreams, I stood under that tree again, and a voice whispered in my ear, soft and accusing. "Why did you come?" I jolted awake at 3 a.m., sweat-soaked, to a faint tapping at my window, like fingernails on glass. I yanked the curtains open. Nothing. The sound stopped, but the silence felt heavier than before. The days that followed were wrong. My camera started failing, shutting off despite a full battery, draining in minutes. At night, I'd hear footsteps pacing my apartment, slow and deliberate, from one wall to the other. Once, in the bathroom, the mirror fogged up, and in the mist, a face took shape. Pale, eyeless, gone when I wiped it away. I told myself I was tired, stressed, seeing things that weren't there. Then came the rain-soaked night that broke me. I was sorting photos when my screen went black. Before I could react, it flickered back on, displaying a picture I'd never taken. A woman's face filled the frame, white as death, eyes hollow, lips curled in a faint, unnatural smile. Behind her stood the human-faced tree. I slammed the laptop shut, but her image burned in my mind, inescapable. That was no glitch. Something had followed me home. Desperate, I drove back to Aomori, tracking down an old man who knew the tree's history. His hands trembled as he spoke of Miho, a woman from over a century ago. Betrayed by her fiancé, she'd slashed her throat beneath that tree, her blood soaking its roots. The tree changed after that, growing strange, alive with her rage. He said her spirit hated intruders, especially those who tried to capture her, and warned me to burn the photos before she claimed me too. I didn't want to believe him, but I couldn't ignore what I'd seen. I bought a can of gasoline and returned to the tree. Under a moonless sky, I set the memory card ablaze, watching the flames devour those cursed images. As the fire roared, a shriek erupted from the tree, high-pitched, furious, inhuman. I ran, the sound chasing me through the dark, and swore I'd never go back. For a while, it worked. The footsteps stopped. My camera stayed quiet. I thought I'd escaped. Then, months later, a letter arrived. No sender, just a photo inside. It showed my apartment's front door, and in the foreground stood the human-faced tree, the white-clad woman beneath it, her head tilted up, staring straight at the lens. This time, I saw her face clearly. The same face from that night on my screen. Left Tokyo, changed jobs, burned every trace of my old life. But the photo kept finding me, slipped into my mailbox, tucked between book pages. Once it appeared on my new phone, uninvited. I gave up photography, threw out my camera. But she wouldn't leave. She was patient, relentless. It's 2025 now. I live in a remote town, hiding from the past. Last night, I heard it again. The sobbing, soft and mournful, drifting through my window. I forced myself to look. In the yard, bathed in moonlight, a young tree had sprouted overnight. Its bark was smooth, but there, faintly forming, was a face. Her face. She's here. She's always been here. And I know, deep down, there's no running anymore.